tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center.
Outside the Pentagon this morning said he saw an airplane coming directly over his head.
Changed the world in so many ways, and most of them are unfortunate. The world lost a lot of innocence on 9/11. People from the current high school generation will never know what it's like to go to an airport or to a crowded football stadium or some large event without all of the security checks. We used to be a little bit more innocent and feel that we were a little less vulnerable or more safe back in those days. I don't see us ever going back to that kind of relaxed security sort of posture in this country. So we get checked with our IDs for all kinds of stuff, and people are constantly going through bags to make sure there's nothing being carried somewhere. That's one of the biggest changes that took place in the world, and it happens on an international level as well. The travel and everything has just become a lot more scrutinized, if you will. And as far as lessons to learn from 9/11, there's an infinite number of lessons. I think one of the ones that stands out to me is, you see some of the strife we have in the world today, even in this country, where people don't get along for one reason or another, whether it's politics or religion or whatever the reasons. People are always finding reasons to not get along. It was a little bit like that in the 90s as well. But when 9/11 happened, every single American got on board and wanted to right this wrong. They wanted to do it together. The lesson that I wish people would learn is love your country and be willing to sacrifice for it, even before a disaster. Come together, know that you're Americans, and be patriots together. Let patriotism be your glue that sticks you together, and take care of your differences at the right time.
When I first heard about the attacks during 9/11, it was kind of surreal for me. I had just spent a week, 10 days before, I spent a week in Pennsylvania, where the Shanksville plane crash. I was in Washington, D.C., and also in Manhattan. We had taken a group of, at my former school, we had taken a group of our football teams to play back on the East Coast. So pretty much every place there was a plane crash, we were there. So it was one of those surreal moments, not believing it could happen, and something that I will really remember for the rest of my life.
So why was 9/11 important? Well, I think from a U.S. perspective, it showed that our role in the world had changed, where we thought we were able to take on battles everywhere, and now we realize that because of that, sometimes people weren't going to like us, and it kind of made us rethink what we were doing. For me personally, I saw that change when we went to the airport. When I grew up, we could walk to the gates, we could meet our family members there. Now, as you know, you have to go through TSA and you have to have a pass to even get down there. And it's just definitely changed the way that we travel. And I think as a next generation, you really want to be cognizant of why and what we're doing and how it's important to futures and why it might impact you for how you travel and how you live your life.
Well, the way it affected me is I lived in New York City for 3 years on a little island called Governor's Island. It was a Coast Guard base, and the World Trade Centers were my view every single day. I don't know how many times I've taken subways underneath them and how many times I've gone up to the top of them, and to see those destroyed was pretty, I guess, surreal. I mean, almost didn't believe it at first because I knew it so well. So I guess it impacted me more because I was so familiar with the area and knew people in New York that were affected by people they knew that worked in the World Trade Centers, even though I didn't know anybody that died. But still, it gave more familiarity of just how real it was when I lived in a place that was pretty much destroyed. So that's how it affected me.
Fire Chief Mike Lopez and Police Sergeant Derek Huss, as well as Captain Matt Henry of Marietta Police Department, our future police chief. We appreciate your presence here today. Please rise and remove your caps for the presentation of the colors by Air Force Jury ROTC and the singing of the national anthem by the NHS Choir. Thank you, Commemorative Choir. Today marks the 23rd anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. None of the students here today were alive to witness that tragic day in our country's history. For this reason, we should take this opportunity to have a moment of reflection and unity while honoring the men and women who lost their lives on that fateful day. With us today are two people who will reflect on and tell the personal stories of this event's impact, affirming the sense of community that we as Americans share in the aftermath. Sergeant Derek Huss of the Marietta Police Department served in the U.S. Army from 2002 to 2006 and was deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. His 173rd Airborne jumped in northern Iraq in 2003. He later then deployed to Afghanistan in 2005 and was awarded the Bronze Star with Valor for Gallantry in Action. After serving our country, Sergeant Huss became a police officer in 2007 and is currently assigned to the Marietta Police Department, where he continues to serve our community. Please welcome Sergeant Huss now.
Not quite as tall as that guy. First off, you guys' choir is absolutely amazing. You guys gave me chills singing the national anthem, so thank you. I just want to say good morning, and I'm very honored to be here. As a kid growing up, both my parents worked, so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and my great-grandparents. And they used to always tell me stories about Pearl Harbor, and that they knew the exact place, when and where they were when they learned of the attacks at Pearl Harbor. As a kid growing up, I always thought that was strange. How do you know the exact place you are when you hear some news? And then life went on, I became a senior, and I was walking into English class. I was actually taking freshman English as a senior because I failed it the first time. So I was walking in there, and when the TV's on, and they're showing, it looks like a movie of a building burning. I sit down and not paying much attention to it, and then the second plane hit. And that's when I knew it wasn't a movie. This is really happening. And as I sat there and I watched men and women jump from 100 stories up to their death to get away from the fire, it really lit something inside of me. And that's why I decided that I was no longer going to go to college. I was going to join the United States Army, and I was going to deploy overseas to get some vengeance against the terrorist organizations that plotted that terrorist attack. After completing high school, I was 17 and a half. My parents signed the waiver, and I joined the United States Army. I deployed to Iraq in 2003, where we did the airborne operation in northern Iraq, and we fought our way down, all the way down to Tikrit, which is the upper north part of Iraq. Completed my tour there, and then went on to Afghanistan, this time as a recon team leader. And a lot you guys don't know this, but several pieces of the World Trade Center were shipped overseas to Afghanistan. And after major firefights where we were able to take out high-value targets and actual members to help plot that terrorist organization, the United States government actually planted pieces of the World Trade Center in Afghanistan soil. So luckily I was able to come home, make it home safe. I got back, and I'm fortunate enough to be hired by the Marietta Police Department, and I've worked there since. Now, as I explain these things to you, a lot of them probably don't make sense, and I hope they never do. But 9/11 really isn't about 9/11. It's about 9/12, because the people that carried out the terrorist attack on 9/11, they didn't just want to do it to hurt American citizens. They wanted to kill our spirit. They wanted to kill our patriotism. They wanted to turn us against each other. And they were never Americans. They don't understand what it is to be American and the spirit that we possess. We were not broken by that terrorist attack that was designed to break us. We were actually bonded together stronger. 9/12 was one of the greatest days I will ever have lived. During that time, there was no fighting about politics. There was no fighting about religion. There was no fighting about sexuality. Everybody came together as one. And we all together stood together and said, this won't stand, and if you come and do this to us, we're going to do it to you tenfold. So as you guys leave from here today, I put a challenge on you. For the next 24 hours, the people you normally wouldn't talk to, the people you normally wouldn't associate with, even people you may have a minor issue with, I ask you to go out of your way in the American spirit to show these people still this day that in honor of those that we lost, that we're going to go out of our way to become better and stronger and more unified. Go do an act of kindness. Go pick somebody up when they fall down. Help somebody out that's having a bad day. And you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it to honor those men and women that paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Huss. Our next speaker is Deputy Fire Chief Mike Lopez of the Marietta Fire Department. Fire Chief Lopez has over 26 years of public service experience. He began his career as a paramedic with Gold Cross Ambulance in El Centro, California in 1993, and was hired as a firefighter paramedic for the City of Calexico Fire Department, where his father was a fire captain and served for 40 years. Lopez went on to join the San Diego Fire Rescue and Carlsbad Fire Departments, and promoted through the ranks to his current position of Deputy Chief of the Marietta Fire Department. Please welcome Deputy Chief Lopez now.
So you probably noticed we have a little fire in our backyard, so our first responder's been a little busy. But I want to take a moment to recognize, and please stand, our ROTC program, our local firefighters. I need you to come on over here. Don't be shy. Come on. That includes you too, Chief. Our police officers, come on, stand up. our medical personnel, any veteran that's in the audience. There we go. We want to thank you for the service that you provide to our community and our country. You are deeply appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Well, good morning, Vista Marietta. Let's try that one more time. Good morning, Vista Marietta. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to be here today with you on this solemn occasion. As we stand here together, I want to remind you all of something very important. Never forget. You see, I remind my 12-year-old daughter, Hope, of this thing every year. And today, I want to share with you why this message is so important to me and should be to all of us. I want to share with you why this message is so important. Many of you weren't born when this event occurred on September 11, 2001. When this took place, it doesn't mean its impact is any less significant to your lives. But on that day, a tragedy unfolded that changed our nation forever. I remember exactly where I was when I first heard the news. My brother, a battalion chief with San Diego City Fire, called me and told me, turn on the TV. An airline jet had just struck the Twin Towers in New York. I was in total shock. I could not believe what I was watching. All I could think were about the people in those towers, our fellow firefighters, law enforcement officers, and EMS personnel who were running into danger while others were trying to escape. What made that day even more personal for me was realizing that my brother Johnny, my sister Rosie, and my mom were scheduled to be at the Twin Towers for a tour that very morning. My heart sunk. I frantically tried to reach them, but the phone lines were overloaded, and I couldn't get it through. It was a terrifying few hours, not knowing if my family was safe. I can still feel the stress, the anxiety, and the sheer agony of those moments. Thankfully, after what I felt like an eternity, we got the call. They were safe, but so many others did not get that call. In the days that followed, the dust settled, and our country came together in ways that were both heartbreaking and inspiring. As firefighters, along with our police officers and emergency personnel, we deployed to assist with the rescue efforts in New York. I responded nearly 31 days as part of an honor guard to attend multiple funerals and pay respects to our fallen brothers and sisters. We honored 343 FDNY firefighters, 23 NYPD officers, and 37 Port Authority officers who selflessly gave their lives so that others might live. But it's not just about the 403 emergency responders or nearly the 3,000 lives we lost in the towers, the Pentagon, and the 4 planes. It's about the people they left behind, their families, their friends, their communities. It's about ensuring that their sacrifices, their courage, and their heroism is never forgotten. So, I ask you all, especially those of you who were not yet born on that day, to take a moment and reflect on what it means to Never forget. Remember the bravery, the selflessness, and the unity that emerged from the darkest of days. Think about the families still grieving and the heroes who ran toward danger. Thank you for allowing me to share this tribute with you today. I don't often talk about my personal experience, but today, it felt right. Please keep the families and loved ones of all those lost in your thoughts, not just today, but always. We will never forget. Thank you.
Thanks again to Officer Huss and to Deputy Chief Lopez for being here with us today. The American flag represents the values our country was founded upon and is a symbol of the American spirit. The 9/11 attacks were not just an attack on our country, but on our beliefs, our ideals, and our values. The United States flag represents the people and the ideals that our military men and women are fighting for and defending. As an expression of our gratitude, we will commemorate this day with the flag folding ceremony. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. For as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace, as well as in times of war, for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. For in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they are found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood and mothers, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for He too has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in the Hebrews' eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in the Christian's eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The 13th fold, or when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, In God we trust. A symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom to many parts of the world, sometimes flying at crucial moments in our history, and other times flown elsewhere to symbolize our continued struggles for the same cause of liberty. By paying respect to this symbol, your actions mark you as a leader. Long may it wave. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of taps. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you for attending. Please never forget those who lost their lives on 9/11. They remain in our hearts today and always. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless America.